Hello and welcome to our beloved parishioners. I'm Bailee.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is Praise Be to Pod. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great. Bailee,
Yeah.
What's on your heart today?
Okay, so I have this landlord that is an unfortunate reoccurring character in my life.
Yeah.
And he has been my landlord for like 6 years.
Okay.
And off and on, he always just finds, he's like a TV character that always just like comes back season after season.
Right.
And he's such an interesting character because he's so sloppy and lazy, yet things always work out for him.
What's that like?
Well, I guess.
You bet.
Sorry, I had to.
That is an appropriate use of the word. To clarify, we have noticed, Ashley and I are very self-critical, but we have noticed that we say like, by we, I mean me mostly, we say like as a filler word a lot. So we're going to work on doing better on it. And so we've asked Jacob to kind of do like a little buzzer sound whenever we use it inappropriately. So that's what the context of that was.
Inside joke. It's
Yes.
really funny on a podcast.
Yes. It's so relatable to the rest of the audience. Okay. So anyway, my landlord, for instance, he just makes a lot of mistakes. He like the landlord special is so real with him when he's repairing things in the house, but then things will still work out because he always has the best tenants who are just really self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, oh, you're just like raking in the dough with us.
Does he
But
own the homes or is he just like
he
a
owns
property
the home.
manager?
Yep.
Okay.
And he I think so he has he's very wealthy and he has a patent on some like hockey sticks. And so he's very wealthy, like extremely wealthy. And then he also has all these rental properties. So I don't know how that happened because he also will not know how to replace the refrigerator in time.
Why doesn't he just hire someone to do this stuff for him?
Well, for some things he does, but he also, I think to save money.
Just cheap.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of cheap.
Kind of Minnesota dad.
Yep, exactly.
So my dad is. He's like, oh, I'm a plumber now.
Yes, exactly. The same thing. But recently, and this is what I was going to talk about today, I have not had heat in my house at all. And it has been fine for the most part because I like things a little cooler. The last couple days,
It got really cold.
it got really cold. And he swears that he turned the gas on, but I'm like, it is not on. It is seriously not on. So I have just been arguing with him over text. And there's a part of me that's like, no man would have to explain that the heat is truly off. He kept on like almost gaslighting me to be like, I don't know if it's really off or like I didn't turn on the thermostat correctly. And
oh my God.
And I'm like, for one thing, it's one of those old Honeywell dial thermostats.
Right.
It's possible that I didn't, but also, why do I have to solve a riddle just to have heat in my house? Can't you just come over and maybe I did get it incorrectly, but that's why I pay you thousands of dollars.
Yeah. New Yorkers will just get a thermostat so that they have evidence. Because it's the only way they can get their landlords to change things.
To show. Yeah. I mean, I typically don't have to wrestle with him that much. It's more the delay. He's going to come, but it's going to take forever. And by
he's breaking
then,
the law by not.
Oh, trust me, that is
providing
not
heat.
his first offense. To his credit, we both have some dirt on each other. So there's a part of me that's like, I could turn him in and then he could turn me in. And then we would both just start suing each other back and forth. So
Fun.
yeah, it's fun to be a low income renter. Anyway, that's what's on my heart. Ashley, what is on yours?
Oh, I've recently been at some large events in Minneapolis, and I just forget if I've been out of the game for a while, how Minnesotans are horrifyingly unaware of anybody around them.
Oh,
It is worse than anywhere in the world I have been.
It really is.
Danny recently described it as human traffic.
Totally.
Because it's
human traffic.
Like someone from LA was complaining to him about how hard it is to get places in LA, which is very real and very true. It's insufferable. Like, 3 miles, 45 minutes.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy. And Danny's like, yeah, it's the same here, but inside.
Yes.
It's like humans just don't know where they're going. They'll just stop in the middle.
They walk
they
so
never
slow.
pull over. They walk in a full line, taking up the whole like the whole alleyway or the whole
Yes.
walkway or whatever.
Yes.
It's so insufferable. It's just, sometimes I'm just like, I hate it. I hate everyone here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the only person who should be living here.
I honestly, so I love living here, but I don't jive with the people here. I hate how hard it is to start a conversation that's
It's
real.
just so irritating.
I hate how every time I talk to someone, they're like, oh, what? They're just,
No one knows how to merge.
yes, like they stop in the middle of the
Like,
sidewalk,
oh,
completely unaware of their surroundings. I don't know if this is the case. It gives the appearance of just being really dumb.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm just in a blind rage every time I go to a public event in
I
this
don't
city.
blame you at all. Okay, let's move on. So we have trust and obey today.
Yeah, we haven't had it in a while.
Yeah, I can go first.
Okay.
Okay, so I have talked about this before, but I like to go to the sauna cold plunge here in the Twin
Yes.
Cities. And so I have a few different bathing suits that I wear. And bathing suits are really hard for a tall gal,
Of
tall,
course.
curvy gal.
Yes.
I've really struggled finding the right bathing suit, but I did find this one company, and this is going to sound sponsored. It is not.
We would love a sponsor though.
Yeah, if they
Anytime.
wanted to, they could. But TA3 bathing suits have been an answer to prayer. They have a built-in corset in the back to just tighten things
Oh.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Were they on Shark Tank?
I think so.
The ones that you like, you
yes,
pull it
and then you
okay.
pull the string. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I've
they
seen
were on
those.
Shark Tank. I can say I have 3 of those bathing suits now. They are great. They are pricey,
Yeah.
but I swim all year round.
Mhm.
So it's worth it to me.
Wow.
I recently bought one that looks like the Pamela Anderson bathing suit, the red
Wow.
one, and I felt so
That's so
confident
you,
in it.
I feel like. Yeah.
I know.
When
and
I picture you buying a swimsuit, it's red.
I have
Yes.
multiple red swimsuits, and it's so flattering. I feel so good in it, and it's not common for me to like feel good in something that revealing, but I really do. So I just highly recommend TA3 bathing suits. They're very good. They are expensive, so I want to
Yeah.
clarify that
feel
I
like
don't. I don't think this is a good
bathing
deal
suit is-
necessarily,
Yeah.
but it is a worthy investment.
Wow.
But that's my recommendation.
Wow, that's a good trust and obey.
Yeah.
Oh, I recently, my trust and obey is about travel insurance. So I buy annual travel insurance, which is like a really nerdy thing to do. But I work in travel and I travel a lot. And I have gotten my money's worth out of it every year.
Really?
Yeah. So they'll cover anything for you if you're not in your city.
Mm-hmm.
So like last year, Danny had an issue with a car rental where they said he damaged the car and he didn't. So he just sent it to the travel insurance company. He never heard about it again.
Oh, you know what? For the rental car issue, I could see that being really helpful.
Yeah.
My understanding is if anything happens to a rental car, it's astronomical.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I lost my AirPods when I was in Chicago
Oh.
and I was really bummed about it. And then I was like, maybe I can put in my travel insurance claim.
Mm-hmm.
It worked.
Really?
Yeah. They paid me and I bought new ones.
That's actually amazing.
I didn't realize how much I depended on them, which was a lot.
I do on
Every
mine
day, I was like, I don't have any AirPods. How will I use my phone? So I recommend travel insurance from
Wow.
anywhere.
Is it expensive?
Well, I get some sort of like travel agent rate. So it's really cheap, like just an annual plan. It's very basic, like mainly like catastrophic stuff or like lost items or lost luggage. It doesn't cover like, oh, I'm sick and now I can't go on my trip. Like it doesn't cover stuff like that.
Okay.
So I just say like basic travel insurance, look into what you can get for the year. Mine's through TravelX,
Mhm.
but I think a lot of companies offer it.
Wow.
I wouldn't do like the travel insurance on your flight. I would just do like regular travel insurance.
Okay.
It's cheaper.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's a good recommendation. When I start traveling again, when my
Yes.
credit card is paid off, I will consider that.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm on track. So
Amazing.
the goal is to be debt free with my credit card by June. I think maybe I can do
Okay.
it a month earlier if nothing catastrophic happens. But life is a little quirky,
Wow.
so we'll see.
Wow.
If I can keep not using heat in my house,
For sure.
I can definitely get a lot closer to that goal. But I do have cats in my house, so I probably need to be a little particular because
Aw.
I have dependents.
Yes. We haven't turned our heat on yet either because we haven't taken our air conditioners out of the windows.
I haven't
so
either.
it's just freezing everywhere.
I should probably do that. That would
So that's a
help.
goal this weekend. Yeah.
That's a good goal.
Mhm.
I'll make that goal as well. And then we'll report back.
All right. Now on to you and your
Yes.
topic for the night.
Yes. Okay. So
Morning.
I am excited to talk about our topic today because this specific topic used to grind my gears growing up. It made me so angry, and I never quite knew why, because it's a bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing. Seems good, has a nefarious underbelly. But I want to talk today about the topic of forgiveness in the church. So if you grew up in the church, you probably had a ton of sermons about forgiveness. That is not an uncommon thing. There's a ton of forgiveness messages in the Bible. And it's also not a terrible thing. It can actually be really powerful and can create a lot of self-liberation. But what I want to talk about today is when that can get a little bit toxic and it becomes a top-down demand versus a personal choice to pursue freedom in your life. So we're going to talk today about when forgiveness messaging in the church gets toxic and what our experiences have been on that and how that shows up in various faith communities. So we are going to rewind a little bit and talk about where the forgiveness message got a little twisted. Because it obviously is mentioned multiple times in scripture. And I'm not going to go and read all the Bible verses because honestly, it's one of the strongest themes in scripture.
Interesting.
Yeah. You don't think so?
No, I said interesting.
Oh, sorry. You said it in a way that was like, interesting.
Well, it is because of like the reputation of Christians today. The reputation of evangelicals today is not forgiveness.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said it like that.
No, that makes a lot of sense because when I look at
Obviously,
scripture, it's the big theme. Like the big one I have in the notes right now is that Jesus forgave us of our sins. That is the premise of the book.
I would just think the biggest theme in the Bible is guns and anger and anti-abortion and anti-immigrants.
And America first.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest ones for sure.
Just like with what's going on in our world today. I do not think this about all Christians. I only think this about zealous evangelicals that are, what do you call them, right wing?
Yeah, that's a good word for them. Christian nationalists.
Christian nationalists.
There you go.
I want to be clear. We know Bailee's still a Christian. She's one of the good ones.
Oh, I forgot for a second because I literally, when people criticize Christians, I'm like, oh yeah, fuck them.
Yeah,
and I remember
it's like when people criticize men, like only the bad men are offended.
I know. It
not the
also
good ones.
isn't really a part of my identity, if that makes sense. I don't really, I get a little embarrassed to admit it sometimes, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I know what the preconceived notions are. Also, I would say that a lot of Christians probably wouldn't consider me a Christian either because of how witchy I am too.
Yeah.
And slightly universalist. So I forget that I am a Christian technically. So this was a good reminder moving forward. Okay. So other examples of forgiveness in scripture, we have Joseph forgiving his brothers in Genesis, my favorite Bible story.
Which is really sick.
It's, his brothers sell him into slavery and he ends up forgiving them in the end. We have Jesus forgiving the adulterous woman and the woman at the well, which, sounds like she had a good reason. The other one is the parable of the unforgiving servant. Stephen forgiving his
what's that one? What's the parable of the unforgiving servant?
So it's an interesting one. So it's a parable where there is a master who has servants that there's people who owe the master money and they are not able to pay him back and he forgives them of their debts. But then the master finds out that the same people he forgave had other people who owed them money and they didn't forgive them. Yeah. And so it was the hypocrisy of it that they didn't pay the forgiveness forward.
Yeah.
And then I think he sends them to hell or something. Something kind of mean, but it's a really powerful parable that Jesus shares.
Yeah.
But that's another common one. We have Jesus forgiving Peter for denying him. And then we have the famous Father, forgive them for they know not what they do.
Yeah.
What Jesus says on the cross.
Would you include the 11th hour worker?
Yeah,
Or
I
is
would
that-
actually.
okay.
Yeah.
That's like a big theme in my Christian journey.
Yeah. It's not, I would say the 11th hour worker feels more like getting your reward versus being forgiven.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would naturally wrap it up in forgiveness messaging, but it is similar. Both stories are similar because they represent a paradigm shift where the debts you paid are forgiven. And there's some resentment for the people that didn't get their debt paid because they paid it off themselves. kind of like the story of Joe Biden forgiving student loans. Wow, everything
Thank you,
is
Joe
everything.
Biden. I got my loans forgiven.
Thank you, Joe Biden. You made me believe my loans would get forgiven. And that few months of happiness really did a lot for my cortisol levels. And sometimes you just got to take the breadcrumbs you can get. That hope was really gorgeous. Okay. So somewhere along the line in Christianity, a lot of these forgiveness messages got bastardized. And like with a lot of good things in scripture, when Christianity became a powerhouse and a colonial force, it turned a lot of these really good messages into corrupt forms of control. So when you think contextually about the audience that would have been receiving these messages about forgiveness, we're talking about a non-powerful group of people.
When the Bible is
when the
written.
Bible is written. Yes, thank you for clarifying. We're talking about a non-powerful group of people who have had so many wrongs done against them and are seeking spiritual liberation. And Christ, or whoever the messenger is giving them a pathway towards it. When Christianity, were you going to say something?
Well, I was just going to ask, like, who are the people?
Well, it would have been like the Hebrew people in Judea, or eventually the Christians in the epistles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people
like
that
all oppressed people.
Oppressed people.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So that was where the message was going. When Christianity became powerful, I think a lot of these forgiveness messages, or even just like messages on generosity, were contorted to give more money to the church, which already had a ton of money, versus giving money to actual poor people. So I think that the forgiveness message also had the same thing done with it, where it was used as a tool for corrupt systems to make victims of oppression responsible for forgiving the oppressive systems. So what were you taught about forgiveness in your church upbringing? Or even, I know you were introduced to Christianity a little bit later than me, even during that period of time as well.
Yeah, I don't know that it was a super strong theme in the teachings that I was involved in or heard.
It was so
because
strong.
my mom grew up Lutheran, which is just normal.
Yeah,
like
we would call that
Christian
nominal
normal?
Christians or lukewarm Christians.
I remember when I was dating, my mom would say to me, just find a nice Lutheran boy or a Catholic boy. They're not as crazy. Because my ex was brought up in like such a extreme version of Baptist, and so was my dad.
Actually,
so she knew what
she
that would
kind
do.
of has a point.
I know. I know. So I found a nice atheist boy.
Those are fine too. Yeah.
But I think that was part to do with it, because I went back and forth between the Lutheran church to maybe like a Baptist church, and then ended up in more of an evangelical environment in my teens. And I just don't remember hearing about it much until I dealt with some bigger things I needed to forgive when I was older, like in college and as an adult. I had a pretty nice life before that. I don't think I was truly in the space where I had this huge forgiveness burden to apply to me. So maybe I heard it, but it didn't matter. I didn't really feel like I had anyone to forgive. I didn't have a lot of trauma like that a lot of people experience when they're younger.
Sure.
Thankfully. And I do remember having a harder time with, girlfriends or like my first heartbreak, and thinking that, but it wasn't that I needed to forgive them. It was that I needed to get over it.
Sure.
I never thought
it was more
I need to forgive them.
Normal.
I need to get him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more just like normal interactions that you experienced as a kid. Yeah. That you have to navigate.
But I'm assuming you had more of the evangelical charismatic side, which the charismatics really got into forgiveness.
Okay. So maybe that's where
which
our
I saw
difference
when I
is.
was older.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was charismatic, and I assumed wrongfully, apparently, that everyone was taught the forgiveness message, but it was absolutely pounded down on me growing up. It was the most common theme. And in fact, it was essentially a moral duty and a litmus test to how good of a Christian you are, was how readily, quickly, and frequently you would forgive. I think there's a story in the Bible where someone asked Jesus, I think it was Jesus, how many times should you forgive someone? And he says 70 times 7 times, which is 490.
Because someone was like, 7 times? And he's like, times 70.
Yes. Which I understand. I think what he meant by that, I think he didn't want people to continue to hold grudges against each other and tally in relationships.
Yeah.
I understand that. But when you're a powerhouse institution like a church and you hear a message like that, you're going to look at that and be, I almost said like, but I didn't. And that is gross.
It is so hard. This is going to be the most insufferable episode anyone's ever listened to.
Jacob's going to have a lot of editing to do. This is his cross to bear.
Keep it in. No one's
He's
listening.
a very good worker. Thank you for what you do, Jacob. Okay. So if I'm the church and I see a message like 70 times, 7 times, I'm going to be an opportunist and be very, intentional with how many times I offend someone. And every time they communicate their grievance, holy shit, this is hard, back to me, I'm going to point to that scripture and say, but you're supposed to forgive me 70 times, 7 times and not be held accountable.
Good job.
Oh my God. I was literally like,
I can see you just
I think my vein was popping out of my forehead. I need a new filler word. Can I say something real quick about the like thing? I think it is okay to say like a little.
Yeah.
I will also
It's our
say
generation.
most podcasts that have men on them, every 5 seconds it's, dude, bro, bruh. And no one is saying anything about that. Like is a traditionally feminine filler word, and that's the one that gets ripped to fucking shreds. So if I say like occasionally, I do want to get better at it occasionally, and someone comes at me, I'm probably going to do something violent. Oops. Anyway.
Good to know.
Not you. I have tasked you with this burden. Don't worry. Okay. So we were also told that forgiveness frees the forgiver. So it's this, which I will say there is a part of me that believes that. And I think that when you start preaching that message, you're getting a little bit closer to where forgiveness gets helpful, which is when it's personal agency and autonomy to forgive someone. But I also feel like it was just repackaged to keep these structures in power and to continually have them oppressing people by putting all of the responsibility. So it basically put too much responsibility on people versus giving them agency to forgive, which are two different things. Like responsibility that isn't yours and the autonomy to make decisions for yourself. Another thing too that was taught a lot was forgive and forget without conditions. And I don't agree with that message.
I write some notes on things I need to say about this.
Yeah. So I hate always forgive and forgive and forget, because I do not think that anybody should be forgetting anything. That is where dangerous people get footholds into your life and where patterns happen over and over again if you continue to forget. So whoever came up with that specific passage, maybe it's even in scripture, I don't know. I have a bone to pick with them because that I think is incredibly dangerous.
That's in the Bible?
I don't know.
I
don't know where it comes from, but whoever came up with it, I just feel like so much abuse has slipped through the cracks with that message being pounded down.
Okay, I know you probably never watched this because I now know your catalog of pop culture references is slim.
That's fair.
But the best line that rings in a millennial's ears when we hear forgive and forget is Lauren Conrad in The Hills fighting with Heidi.
I have seen The
in their
Hills.
last scene with the black tear. And she says, I will forgive you, and then I want to forget you.
Wait, that's cruel and unusual.
And then they're never friends again.
That's pretty good, actually.
So good.
Spooky. Okay.
And I was like, oh, I wish I could be like her and not have this religion making me forgive everybody. I want to forget and not forgive or whatever. I don't care.
Maybe the intention of forgive and forget was maybe forgive and let go.
Yeah.
And to that I can understand. Or to follow through with your forgiveness and not pick the resentment back up. If that was the intention, that's great. I don't think that is how that teaching was implemented most of the time, though.
Okay, so I remember one of the biggest voices of forgiveness when I was growing up, and maybe it was when I was a teen, I can't remember, was Oprah.
Really?
Oprah had this, in the 90s, Oprah was God.
Yes.
Anything she recommended, sold out. It was like before they were influencers, it was Oprah. Like anything that she put her stamp of approval on, any book she liked, number one. She had so much power. And she had some guest or something where they talked about forgiveness and the idea of forgiving helps the person who needs to forgive release things.
Yes.
And it was this huge paradigm shift to everybody. Like, oh, forgiving isn't for them, it's for me.
Yes.
Which I think is true. Like you can definitely like harbor these, I don't know, grudges or horrible things that happen to you and just keep thinking about how much you hate that other person. And that isn't good for your psyche or for your nervous system. And so I think that's like one strong person I think of when I think of this voice. It's honestly not the church, even though I was so involved in the church when I was a teen and young adult. I think of Oprah.
Yeah. Well, I think I remember what you're talking about now because if I'm remembering correctly, she experienced abuse from one of her uncles.
I don't remember why at all.
Okay. I think that was what it was. And that uncle continued to coexist with the family. And I think I don't think I'm misremembering this, but I think that she kind of had to continue to interact with him. And so there was a lot of resentment, not only on what happened, but also how her family responded to it. And I do remember her messaging about forgiveness. And to that, I would say, I completely agree with that, especially once you get distance from that person. And I've definitely had so many situations that I've needed to forgive people for. And honestly, it has been a really amazing and transformative experience. I always say this, that, resentment, which is what builds up when you're not forgiving people, is kind of like a chain that attaches you to someone. And unfortunately, to set yourself free, you have to set them free too, because you're kind of attached to each other. So it's this agreement that you have to care more about your joy than their pain. And that, honestly, when I am at my most resentful, I would rather the person who hurt me be miserable than me be happy, because I'm so committed to revenge. When we're talking about toxic forgiveness, it can be hard to know when a forgiveness message from the church is toxic versus when it's just regular
Oprah.
Yeah, regular Oprah. Exactly.
I mean, forgiveness can be good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
It's mainly good. But you're saying that it's been twisted and turned into something really powerfully negative by oppressive powers or the church or...
Yes. So, for example, a few episodes ago, we talked about the Duggar family in Shiny Happy People season 1. And I think this is a really good example of that, because when the Duggar girls, when it came out that Josh Duggar had been sexually abusing his younger sisters, I don't think he was running for office, but his dad was running for office, right? So they were very in the news. And when that came out and people were questioning Josh Duggar, the Duggar family made the girls go on, was it Megyn Kelly's show? And say that they had forgiven him and kind of make it sound like it wasn't that big of a deal, or it was just
blown out of proportion.
It was blown out of proportion, or it's just kids being kids, that kind of a thing. Negating the fact that as an adult, he had child pornography on his hard drive, but they still tried to make it sound like a kids will be kids thing, even though we're talking about an adult here. But they tried to distract, I think, from the fact that he is an adult and this was actual child pornography. So they were pressured. And in hindsight, when they talk about it, they were basically communicating that they didn't have a choice. So they were pressured by the family to go on there and talk about forgiveness. And I think that that is a common story. That also happened when I was at IHOP and everything came out about Mike Bickle grooming people. So many of his victims were told that they just needed to forgive. And, whether or not they decide to forgive Mike Bickle is a journey that they will have to decide for themselves whether to go down. And maybe it will be really helpful to them. I don't really know. It's not really any of my business. The problem is that so many of the people that were telling them they need to forgive were also people that weren't remotely interested in justice being served. It was always used as a message to just cover up sin. And what I think is a really good indicator and difference in how you can locate it is a lot of toxic forgiveness is almost like a knee-jerk reaction where somebody's like, oh, you need to forgive. And they say it really quickly.
No one should be telling you to forgive somebody. They should be
Right.
inviting you
Yeah.
if they're in that part of your life.
Right.
But you should never be told to forgive somebody.
I agree. And
I'm
it's
a
also really
5-year-old.
important that it comes from the right person.
Exactly.
Like, I remember when we were in the summer of 2020, when George Floyd was murdered, I heard so many white Christians talk about how Black people need to forgive police officers for decades of oppression and violence. Did you hear that message a lot? I heard it constantly. And I remember being so bothered by it because, you know, in Black churches, if they want to have conversations about what it means to walk in forgiveness and to let go of resentment and to live full and like prosperous lives, that is totally okay because those are their spiritual leaders. But when it's a privileged white person who doesn't have a clue what the impact of police brutality is, saying you need to forgive, it's almost always because they just don't want to hear about it. They're just bothered hearing about all these stories, and mostly because I don't think that they can sit with the pain of it because it's really hard to listen to stories like that.
I even have a friend who she is Black American and she's married to a Nigerian man who immigrated here and they met in college and now they're married. And her husband, who's African, often says these things to her. He's
about
like,
forgiveness?
He's like, let it go. Why is everyone still upset about this? It's so long ago. And she's like, you don't understand. Like, so it's not only, I don't even know how to make any commentary on it because I shouldn't, but it's an interesting dynamic to see someone struggle with that with another Black person, but it's still different because they're not in the same culture.
Yeah.
Like it's a cross-cultural relationship, even though they're both Black, you know, but one grew up here and they have the ancestral trauma of what this country did to her and her family versus someone who came here because he's really smart and he went to college here.
Yeah.
You know, that's very different.
I would agree. And I can't really speak to that either. I think it's more egregious when a white person tells someone because of the power
Maybe
dynamic.
That isn't even a story I should be telling, but I was
We
saying,
can look
like,
back. Yep.
there's so many places where people don't understand.
Yes. They don't
was
have
my point.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. No matter what you're coming from, like if you aren't a part of that community, you wouldn't understand.
Right.
You can try to empathize and that's really great.
Yeah.
But you have no business telling people what to feel.
Right. Well, not only what to feel, but that they shouldn't be feeling it and that they should let it go. Think of the times that you've had something really awful happen in your life and someone that didn't know you and didn't know what it was like came in and told you that you needed to essentially get over it. That's how forgiveness messaging lands when it comes from the top down.
Yeah.
When it comes from a system in power or a person with privilege telling a person who is going through a lot more in terms of living on the margins that they need to forgive. Oh, that is so tone deaf. It's just the worst thing ever. And it just doesn't sound right. And I feel like that's what it feels like when the church is telling people who are experiencing marginalization that they need to forgive.
Yeah. And when I think about all of these stories I've seen in the media of someone radically forgiving somebody, it's always a woman.
Interesting.
When you
Say
think
more
about
about that.
I think about all the Oprah stuff. It's lots. I mean, Oprah's audience is women.
Yeah.
So obviously all those stories that come to my mind are women. And then there's a lot of mothers whose children were killed by a drunk driver or a murderer or a serial killer, you know, like all these terrible things. And they show up in court and they say this long thing and then I forgive you. And then, you know, the serial killer.
Yeah.
It's a story I've seen over and over again. I've never seen the dad do that. That's not been publicized. Maybe he did, but this country and this country's media really gets off on a woman being noble, forgiving something terrible and heinous from happening.
You are absolutely right. Because now when I think about it, a lot of the court cases where the dad is given kudos is when the sentence is served and he lunges towards his child's murderer or something.
Yeah, he's not forgiving.
Or he does something outside of the law and
he's
the
standing
people
up
in
for
the courtroom
his kid,
are like, we'll let him
Yeah.
have it for a
I
second.
mean, I don't blame him for that either, but I'm just
I
saying.
think either one is fine. If you want
Right.
to, if forgiveness is really important to you in that moment, that's fine. But I do think you are correct that there is a specific pressure put on women to be emotionally noble and forgive. I see that a lot too with stories with women who have been sexually abused.
Of course.
Forgiving their rapist, forgiving the person who molested them.
Yeah.
It's so theatrical. And I remember hearing those messages so much growing up and being like, that's a really nice story. And also, why do we never talk about actual justice? Actual, like, that is the knee jerk reaction.
Yeah.
And it is, again, an example of women having to take on the emotional burden of making men who are predatory feel less terrible about being predators.
Yeah.
Kind of like male loneliness epidemic stuff, where apparently that's our job to fix it, when it's,
I wonder why.
yeah, it's always our job to do everything. And
If
it's
you
not
stop
just
being
women.
such a loser, maybe you can make a friend.
Yeah. Or I don't know.
Are you lonely, Jacob? Seems like you have a lot of friends because he's normal.
Yeah, you live a very socially robust life because you are pleasant. I do know what you mean, where I have had guy friends or I've dated guys in the past that talk about how lonely they are. And, you know, I'll be like, oh, that's terrible. Like, let's fix that. That, yes, you can come hang out with our friends. Those are the people that will do you the dirtiest. And you're like, oh, that's why you're
That's why
lonely.
you don't have any friends.
But you keep putting that on the people that you continually hurt to fix that. You're a spoiled child on the playground who wants the kids to play with you regardless of the fact that you don't share your toys, that you pull hair, that you bite, when you really should just be learning how to be properly socialized, not that the other kids have to pretend that they like you when they fucking hate you.
Also, it's giving I've never moved before.
Oh, for real. It really
Come
has.
on.
Have you ever had to start
you never
over?
had to make a friend?
Yes.
Get out of your house.
You have to be pleasant. You don't just run around the city and say, why does no one want to be my friend? You have to be pleasant.
Maybe you should start forgiving people.
Yeah, maybe you should forgive people more of your grievances.
And yourself for being a loser.
Yes. So back to the conversation about how to tell if a forgiveness message is toxic.
Yes.
So if it's delivered too quickly, meaning let's just say you go to someone to confide in them about something that someone did to hurt you, and before they sit in that pain with you and tell you what was done to you was wrong, or pursue accountability to the other person, they immediately slap on the label, well, you should just forgive them. That is giving more, I am so uncomfortable with what you just told me.
Yeah. Minimizing.
Yes. Minimizing, or just, here's this label that keeps getting thrown around in Christianity. This is what I'm going to put on it so you stop talking about it. And every time you bring it up again, I'm going to say, it sounds like you haven't been dealing with forgiveness. I thought you said that you had forgiven them. Why do you keep bringing it up? And I feel like that's a good example of why. Additionally, I think also when people don't play the long game with you with forgiveness, because forgiveness can take a really long time. And if somebody isn't willing to walk with you through that forgiveness and the like metastasizing of your resentment, I would say that they're not very justice motivated, because that can take a really long time. And honestly, if the stories in the Bible about generational curses are true, meaning one person fucks up and God puts century-long curses on those families, I'm sure you can hold a grudge for 5 minutes. Like, I just think that she's the queen of resentment and unforgiveness and pursuing justice. So another good example of toxic forgiveness is emotional manipulation. So guilt tripping victims into forgiving is a really big part of it. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it in a lot of true crime shows.
Really? How so? I never watched those.
Oh, like the mom saying, you just need to forgive him, you know, for the stepdad or whatever. Yeah.
And it's always put on young people or
women.
Yep, women in general, but also is a person who is
right,
younger, marginalized, is in a more vulnerable situation. Are they being asked to do the heavy lifting?
Yeah, or if it's like coming from an institution.
If it's coming from an institution, that's a big one too. Absolutely, especially an institution that has no intention of actually holding that person accountable. That's a big one too. So some real life examples in the church that we would like to point out if you're thinking, does this actually happen in church? It
Of
does every
course. Mm-hmm.
other second. But there's the Southern Baptist Convention, which pressured survivors to forgive their abusers. And that only came after like decades of reformation and advocacy. We've talked about this before, but Mark Driscoll at Mars Hill Church, leadership in that church were so spiritually and emotionally abusive to other people in the church. And when the victims brought it up to hold leadership accountable, they were just told quickly that they just needed to forgive. And you can learn about that in The Rise and Fall of Mars Hill, which is a great podcast about that. We've recommended it before. Another one that I think is really interesting, mostly because I used to follow this person a lot when I was a more conservative Christian, is Ravi Zacharias' International Ministries. He was a very well-respected theologian.
Yeah.
I don't think he was a professor at Oxford, but he did a lot of his work out of Oxford. So
He was like a cool guy.
he was.
Wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you were a conservative Christian.
I think of him and Shane Claiborne.
Oh, who's the one? I don't know
You
their
know,
name
Donald
enough.
Miller.
Yeah, Donald Miller. Yes.
Yeah.
So more conservative, but more of a mystic. So it felt
Yeah.
more liberal, but it
You
wasn't
felt,
exactly.
You know, rebellious listening to them.
Kind of, yeah.
Or
I think
following them or reading
he
their
was a
books.
gateway
Yeah.
drug to becoming a liberal Christian.
Donald Miller, number one.
Yeah, and same with Ravi
totally.
Zacharias. But it unfortunately came out that he was sexually abusing people on his staff
I
and
don't
in
think
his
I
ministry.
knew that.
Yep. And it came out
I'm
after
not forgiving him.
Yes. Well, and it came out after he had passed away. So that added
He's
another.
dead? I'm finding out so much.
Yes.
Is he old?
I don't remember how maybe he passed away from the wrath of God. I don't really know. He didn't seem that old.
I feel like he's not old.
He's literally dead.
Oh my God.
He is no longer with us. There was a culture at that institution where anyone who tried to speak out against what was happening, they were immediately told that they needed to forgive. And then after he passed away, that was another layer of like, don't speak ill of the dead. Even though justice had never been served when he was alive.
Yeah.
And so after he had passed away, they even, dug their heels in about that message. So that's another very prominent example of that.
I remember being told, like, I remember feeling like I had to forgive even when I wasn't ready because it was part of my religion.
Yes.
And so I remember being really mad at my mom and telling her, I forgive you, and saying I forgave her and acting like I forgave her, but I didn't. And what that did is create this really weird mask for me with my mom
Yeah.
for a long time. And I didn't really understand why it was so awkward in our relationship.
Yeah.
It was because I was trying to pretend
You
I
had
forgave
to
her.
perform forgiveness.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I told her I did, because I needed to tell her I did, because that's what I thought I had to do. She wasn't pressuring me to do that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I'm the Christian. I'm the crazy missionary. I have to perform this for you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm ruining my witness and I'm not being everything I say I am.
Interesting.
And I felt a lot of pressure to forgive when I didn't want to.
Yeah.
And just it wasn't time. It
Yeah.
wasn't that I didn't want to. I just wasn't ready.
Right.
And we even talked about that a few years ago, like how I performed that. And I didn't really realize that it took a long time to
Yeah.
realize there were things I did out of how strict I saw my religious experience. I performed out of it a lot to be righteous. And I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it makes sense because when you're a Christian with the background that we have, there was so much pressure on us to be the bigger person.
Yeah, and to be perfect.
Yes, Christ-like, that it robbed us of the experience of having these moments of true connection and reconciliation with people. Because I would imagine, and maybe this wouldn't have solved everything, but if you had a more carnal, real conversation with your mother early on, where you both kind of went at it,
Yeah.
you might have gotten further because you would know what had been ailing both of you. And it would have given you both an opportunity to understand each other. But that's what a lot of these Christian experiences rob from you, is the ability to wrestle with other people, because you have to be above reproach. You have to rise above. And that's no way to live life.
It's very performative, and it's also really stressful because
Yeah.
you aren't allowed to have emotions.
Yeah.
I felt in general that I wasn't allowed to have any emotion that was negative.
Yeah.
And so I had to perform happy and positive all the time. And if I was struggling with something, it was in the past, you know, like nothing was ever happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bailee, when we're talking about like kind of looking back and thinking over how this has affected us, like, do you have any examples or stories that you can think of?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a lot of them. I was thinking a little bit ahead of time about like what stories I would want to share. And I have one that came to mind because funny enough, actually just recently talked about it in therapy, which I hadn't talked about in therapy before. So the universe works in mysterious
hard
ways.
ones.
I know, right? Yeah. But I'm primed and ready to talk about it. So I have this story, one of my earlier negative memories in my life. I think I was around like 6 years old. My dad had gotten me this cute little dog for my birthday. It was like a little toy poodle. And him and I were on like a walk, and we got attacked by a pit bull that was across the street. It was like the neighbor pit bull, and the dog that I had did not make it, survive the attack. And it was like a pretty horrifying experience, obviously.
And you were by yourself with the dog?
Yep.
Okay.
And so obviously the experience in and of itself was pretty terrible. But I think that one of, like, in relation to what we've been talking about, one of the aspects of that memory that really upsets me still is after kind of everything happened, my dad came out and essentially like rescued me, I guess. And he like brought me back into the house, and then I'm not sure what he did after that. He took a shovel and left the house. And
were you bit at all? Like, were you hurt?
I don't think I was.
Just the
It
dog.
was like it went for the dog.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think I was scratched up because and then I ran back to the house barefoot, and so like my feet were bloody, but that was about it. But I remember like afterwards being so angry, and it was one of my first experiences with feeling like true wrath. Like I couldn't really articulate it at the time, but I wanted revenge.
Like against the dog?
Not really the dog, the people more so. Like I've always been an animal lover, and even at that time, like the dog felt like it was a product of that house versus, and I still like love dogs, and I love pit bulls too. It's not like a pit bull thing. It just so happened to be a pit bull, but it was the people were the people had been called out by the town before to keep their dog like in the fence or whatever, or chained up or whatever.
Yeah, so it's just loose.
It was, so I think that it had been chained up, but it broke the chain.
Oh.
But it just still wasn't like secure.
Uh-huh.
And so other people had like small animals of theirs get killed by this dog before. And so it was just that like it wasn't like our safety just wasn't taken seriously. And I just had like normal revenge, being angry that something was taken from me. And I remember talking to my dad about it and wanting him to do something. And I remember him kind of sitting me down and basically saying like, you know, I'm a faith leader in this community. And I think that it would say a lot about God and the way he works in our life if we forgave these people instead of like doing something. Because I'm sure they're expecting that we're going to do something. And I just remember I couldn't articulate it at the time, being not satisfied with that response. And looking back now, I'm just thinking like, what parent lets that slide?
Yeah.
You know, like it's just
like he didn't even go talk to the people who own the dog or anything.
I think that he told them what happened, but I don't think there was no accountability for it.
They didn't apologize to you, or
I think that they did in their methed out way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, sorry. Like they were just they were not well.
Yeah.
But like I didn't even feel, I mean, I knew he was angry, but like I just personally think that you learn a lot about what people's values are and what they care about by what makes them angry. Like, for instance, if someone you cared about came to you and said that someone hurt you, you'd be furious and it would be visible on your face. And so it's one of the reasons why I just feel really on guard about a lot of forgiveness messages, is that I feel like it's a way to just not pursue justice. And it just feels like maybe somebody isn't angered that you were wronged in some way. That's not necessarily the case. Obviously, like we know of very many powerful examples of forgiveness, but I remember feeling so angry that it just felt like in that moment he prioritized being a pastor over a father.
Yeah.
And that was just really upsetting to me. And so I just have a really bad taste in my mouth when it comes to a lot of forgiveness messaging. So yeah, it's just really tough. Like even in the Bible, like it says, I think it's revenge is mine, saith the Lord. Like the Bible is a very revenge heavy book. God seeks revenge a lot. And so I think that revenge is righteous in many instances. Like I'm pretty revenge positive, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm really skeptical of a lot of forgiveness messaging. Maybe I'll grow out of it. Maybe I'll have an experience 5-10 years from now where it finally just spiritually really clicks with me. That's happened before with certain things in life. But at this time, I just feel highly skeptical of most forgiveness messaging.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's really hard. I remember, I don't know where this like movement started, but I remember this guy I crossed paths with some point in like my Christian world where being a Christian was my job. And it was
when you were
also
a professional
his,
Christian?
Yeah. Like I don't remember how we crossed paths, but he went on and on once talking about how, you know, like he doesn't need to seek revenge and he doesn't ever need to stand up for himself because God will do it for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
That's a great way to get taken advantage of.
I agree. And it's one of the reasons why I think that people want you to approach that is because then you're easily manipulated and can be cast to the side more easily.
I was like, what?
Yeah. That is really upsetting to me too. And I understand that there are certain situations where that information or that belief could be comforting. Like if you're a truly helpless person and you have no idea how to defend yourself in a situation because maybe you're really vulnerable and the person who's wronging you or the system that's wronging you is just so powerful.
Yeah.
It makes sense that you can release the task of revenge and know that there is divine justice that's waiting for you. I also believe that there is. So it makes sense that there are some people who are really comforted by it when that's the only good news that they have is that one day the scales will tip in their favor.
Like, what do you wish your dad would have done? You just wish he would have been more mad? You just wanted him to see him be mad about it at least?
Yeah. I think I wanted to see him just cry with me.
Yeah. Like be sad about what happened to you.
Yeah. And I think he was mad. But I think that I just wish he hadn't put his pastor hat on. And there's also he has passed away since. So maybe one day, if there is a God and a heaven and blah, 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 I will have or a hell, honestly, I can have a chat with him again and understand maybe there was stuff happening behind the scenes. I was also a young child.
Yeah.
So maybe he did seek revenge in a way that I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
He didn't even involve me in it. I'm not sure. I only remember what he told me. It makes sense that he wanted me to not,
retaliate,
be angry, and he tried to lead with the forgiveness message. But I honestly think it backfired because it just made me revenge thirsty.
Yeah.
So I don't even really know. And maybe also it's just a situation where there's no way you could have felt better, and you just have to release the fact that it was just a terrible situation, and there is no justice in that situation because I was wronged. So.
Yeah, by a dog.
By a dog.
What happened to the dog?
So, funny enough, I think somebody a year later had a similar situation happen to them with the same dog, and they did retaliate and they poisoned the dog. So, eventually the dog was taken care of, I guess.
Yikes.
So, that person had a little bit more, was more revenge.
Maybe it was
forward.
your dad.
Maybe it was. I think he had already passed away by then, but...
Even better.
Yeah, all this stuff happened in a year. It was there was a bunch of other stuff too. It was
You're
a
so
crazy.
little.
Yeah, it was the year from 6 turning into 7. I have to this day not had a year as intense as that period of time. I don't know what was happening in the stars.
Of course.
But all of it happened all at once. And then everything has felt like it was in the aftermath of that.
Yeah.
So
it's so hard. I feel like when I think about myself, I don't have a ton of compassion. And that's one of my issues in therapy is well, it just happened. And I don't know, I always feel guilty and not sad for myself. So then the therapist trick is to tell that same story about a kid that age that you know, and you're like, oh my God, they're so little.
I
You know, and he's like,
know.
yeah, that was you.
Yeah.
I think about like 6-year-old Bailee losing her poodle. It's like
I
so
know.
sad.
I think about
I
that.
don't forgive that dog or those people either.
I know. And I even like think about myself as a little girl, and I had like just this chubby cheeks and like cute long hair.
Yeah.
And I loved horses. And I just can't imagine seeing that little kid get attacked by a dog and be like, you need to forgive. I'd be like, no, someone's going to pay. Like, I just don't understand how that's your knee-jerk reaction.
Or like maybe there's some steps before you say something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it's just, I just
That
don't.
wasn't right, or that dog should have been
Yeah.
trained, or
Exactly. So I just don't understand why.
yeah.
Because when I think about how I think about my nephew
Right.
or my best friend's baby,
yeah.
even just them crying, I'm just like, who did this to you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, they're babies. They have
Yeah.
shit in their diaper. That's about
Yeah.
it. But I don't know. I just don't understand how that same feeling wasn't provoked.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad to think about that. But I'm also like speaking of someone who can't speak for themselves. It's also my memory. I just remember that being what my takeaway of it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I have to say about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like many of the things we've talked about. It's a moving target for me. I
Yeah.
have no idea what happens. I have heard some people though who have a forgiveness experience in their life that is so powerful, it feels almost spiritual, and they just don't understand it until it happens for them. Maybe that will happen to me one day. And that sounds awesome. And then I'll look back at this episode and be like, you idiot, you had no idea. I am fully aware that might be the case. At this point in time, I don't really see the benefit of forgiveness. Except if it just helps you like move forward in your life. Like do whatever you got to do.
Right.
If you got to do an eye for an eye little dance to feel better, go for it. If you want to never think about it again, that's fine too.
Yeah. Like I don't think that forgiveness is the opposite of revenge.
Oh, say more about that real quick.
I'm just saying, like, you can be mad about something without like seeking out revenge and being a hateful person. Like, I feel like that's what the church makes things so black and white and so simple. And it's like, I don't need to be forced to forgive someone because it doesn't work. But I also don't need to be like out there thinking about it every day. That's when you have to work on forgiveness, is when it's like ruining your life.
I forgot that the middle ground is also an option.
Yeah.
Probably because I grew up in a fundamentalist cult.
Yes.
But yeah, you're right. You don't actually have to even decide today what you want to do with something.
Like a lot of the hurts in my life that I would maybe need to forgive someone about, I don't care about.
Yeah.
So maybe I forgave them or maybe I didn't. I don't care.
You just released it.
I just like don't really think about it and it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I think it's the middle ground. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or at some point in my life, I realized like hurt people, or this person's messed up and they're never going to like apologize or care or understand what they did to me. So like, I don't care either.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting.
It's easy to say at this point in my life when I am not dealing with it right now.
Yeah.
You know, like
I feel a little like in the middle
Yeah.
of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I actually had this in my notes and I wasn't going to say it, but now it's relevant. I have this like current forgiveness thing I'm working through right now and I've talked about this in a previous episode before, where someone I used to date like hurt me really bad and was just not in like a normal way that like, relationships don't, they were just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And they are now in seemingly a really happy, loving relationship. And that like watching that take place, well, for one, it feels personal. I just assumed that they weren't capable of being good, but apparently they fucking are.
Yeah.
And it's just not good to me, I guess. And also not having a person at this time is not always easy.
Right.
It's fine sometimes. But when you see that happen, that can feel really, like, I'm sure if I met someone, I wouldn't think about it anymore.
Yeah.
But until then, I feel like I'm just stuck in that lack of justice. And I doubt that I'm going to be able to release it until I get to move out of this stage of life. You know, I think I'm constantly sitting in a life that is reflecting the lack of justice in that situation.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Oh, I think we could go on forever.
I think we could. You want to wrap it up?
Blessed are the listeners, for they shall shamelessly hold a grudge for as long as they damn well please. Find us on praisebetopod.com on the web and praisebetopod on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube. It is finished.
finished.
Bye.